This oil is so good, it should be a crime. Let me show you. Now, before we get to the world's best oil, bar none, let me show you what happened last weekend on the transmission, because we got the transmission out. Now, am I gonna tear this transmission apart? Heck no, I'm not tearing this transmission apart. That is not my problem. I do not work on transmissions. So, what is the deal with it? Interesting note. Now, this transmission, this Rosler transmission right here, Turbo 400, has been really good since well into last year, because we have 3 drag and drive events and probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 50-ish some odd passes, about 35-ish bad. Okay, tires shaking, everything. But let me show you what happened, why I think this happened. Now, let's go over with the laptop, something I didn't figure out until after we had already left the racetrack. Now, you might be asking, why Steve in his lab coat? Well, because we're gonna go over there and gonna do some cool oil backwoods Steve processing math science. All right, but first let's talk about the car. Now, what I wanted to show you here is this is the 667 pass from 6 summer. This is the last time the car ran out. Now, a really neat thing, this was just a nice, clean, soft, easy, nothing pass, no big deal. Okay, super slow, but it did go 109 60 foot right through here. All right, now notice if I come over here, and this is what it didn't dawn on me to look at real quickly, was this status events. Now, status events, you come over here and it says, hey, there was something wrong with your pass. It's empty on this pass because there was no electrical glitch, no injector glitch, no ignition glitch, no any kind of glitch happened right there during that 667 pass. Now, that was just nice, easy pass, like I said. Now, here's the very next pass. It just happens to be a couple weeks later, okay? 3 weeks later. Exactly the same tune-up. Everything's exactly the same. Now, here you see, I pointed this out earlier. Here is 109 right there. And then all of a sudden, right exactly at that point, you see my O2s go what? Really bad, really bad, really bad. And my engine RPM is just crazy terrible right there. Now notice right here, there's something going on. I thought it was just the transmission braking internally. No, it really wasn't, because that engine RPM just went up and then was going all crazy, but the O2 sensors were just going whacked out crazy. And then I thought, oh crud, check out the tire right here, the exact same time. See how the tire's shaking. It makes the gear change right in the mid, right at the front part of that tire shaking. So it's going, whoa, shaking super hard. The transmission calls for a shift. Now, why was it shaking? It was shaking because something's going on. Look at the status events, and what do we have? Oh, look at that. All of a sudden, for some reason, the CAN device thought it got disconnected, and my peak and hold drive injector communication error, peak and hold injector communication error. All of that stuff happening right here in this whole area. It even tells you the time frame, everything. So at 10 seconds in, there was a problem right through there. But the primary problem was at 17 seconds, there was a communication error, whatever that is, with this injector driver problem. So what it's doing is it is shutting off the engine, shutting off the injectors. Bing, 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 bing. What do you think the tire's gonna do if all of a sudden it's going, wah, and the tire's like loaded right up, and then all of a sudden your engine goes, bup, 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 bup. That's personally what I think has happened. I don't think it was even a transmission's fault. Transmission probably, it's probably pretty due, but it shifted in the middle of a tire shake, and the tire shake, I believe 100% was caused by injectors, which it says right there was shutting off. had an injector problem. That's electronics, okay? So I know that Fuel Tech has a new updated, the next set of updated injector drivers. Hopefully this has got to cure the problem, because we've had this problem the last, during 6 summer, and now it was perfect, and then all of a sudden, boom. I mean, you go from a perfect pass, there's no errors, there's no anything, super nice, go out and make the exact same pass, and bang, all of a sudden there's an electrical problem. What do you want me to do? Honestly, what do you do? So there's the problem. I'm pretty sure, in fact, I'm almost 100% sure that that's what caused the tire to go to shake. It makes a gear change right in the middle of it, hits it at the perfect spot, whatever it may have been, and it just overloads and breaks the transmission. Tis what it is. Okay, so that's where we're at there. We're getting the transmission. Roslers are taking care of it like immediately right away, getting my spare back immediately right away. So I'm gonna have 2 transmissions for not this weekend, but next weekend at the streetcar reunion, fastest streetcar reunion over at Havlicks in Cordova Dragway. Well, hopefully, come see us over there, because I screwed you guys all over because I wasn't there at the PDRA event like I wanted to be. So now let's go over here and check out this oil, because it is insane what goes on with this oil. It is so flaming good. But wait, you might say to yourself, hey, there was something going on with your rear end because you weren't able to pull out your axles. Now, didn't dawn on us when we had it sitting there on the ground, because as I put it up here, I go, I better go check my rear end and see if everything's okay. See why I can't get that axle out. And so I stick my finger in the hole right here and I go, that is the axle. That's where the axle seal lies. This goes into the center section, and this is out on the axle flange. The car was sitting there on the ground, and it had just a little bit of twisted force in it. Just the most minute amount of twisted force. If we would have just lifted up the rear end, we could have just done exactly that. So it has lube on it. There's no twist. Everything looks great on this thing. Put it right back in. Now notice. Woo! Okay. We put the axle back in. Goes through the seal. Oh, there's no drive shaft in it. But it's all in there now. First things first. This is actually the second rendition of SM oil. Okay? Now this is after 6 summer. This is also, notice, we're showing you this really cool blue. This is before we had the dye. Now, you might be asking, why has it been, you've been talking about this oil for a long time, why is it taking so long? Let me explain the #1 reason why this is taking so long. This is not an existing oil that somebody puts my sticker on. It is not. We've now been working on this oil for over almost a year. In fact, it probably is over a year now, okay? And this is real deal, different oil, different additive packages, not out there currently additive packages, and everything right down to, you know, now it is blue, okay? Now I'll tell you why it's blue here in a minute. So we've been testing. I send oil samples back to Bill, the oil nerd at Driven Oil. Driven Oil is the one that is doing this for us. Driven Oil is the one that has expressed interest in doing oil for me, because it's like, I want to do something even totally different. What you're doing, not totally different, but I want to add on to what you're doing. That's better terminology. I want to add on to what you're doing. So I've been running oil. I send them samples. I run different oil, all our stuff. I send them samples. Now we got the oil mixture all correct. And what has to happen every one of these times is, every time we make a change to the oil and we think we got it down pat, they send it to get ASE certification. This is real deal, has its own little numbers and all its crud, okay? If you look here on the jug, it has everything. This is new oil sample, because this is the latest version that is blue. All right? Just like that, or right down there on the floor, it is blue. So every time we've made a change, we had to go in and get ASE certification for it. So the last thing we had to make a new ASE certification for was we added a dye to it, because we said, I said, I don't want it to be that color. I said, can we make it my own color? said, well, our oil is green. I said, well, I don't want it green, obviously, because this is not my sticker on somebody else's oil. This is a new deal. All right, just trying to reiterate. This is also 2560 weight, 2560, semi-synthetic. So this starts with a base oil, the same base oil as all the GP1 oil. That's the base stock. Then it's the oil packages that add up on top of it. All right, we're gonna go real in depth with oil packages, but as we'll do that later when we go down to Driven to show you exactly how this is all made and how everything's all going on down there. But I wanted to show you some really cool stuff. So just this weekend, Bill sends me the first blue oil, and I'm thinking, oh, that is super sweet. So I pour it in the cup here like this, and I go, oh, this is like fine wine sampling here. Amazing. Very cool. And I'm thinking, wow, look at how much that sticks and stays on the side. And I thought, oh, I want to compare this with somebody else's oil. Hence, VR1, which is also blue. All right? So everybody doesn't think it's just VR1 in a different bottle. No, it's not. All right? There is the oil there. Now, check that out. Now watch. You swirl it around. Now this is a 2050. Notice that. Now what I want you to see is how fast this runs off of the side of the glass. It's called the Maragione. Maragione. I can't remember exactly how I pronounce that. Forgive me if you're Maragione and you're like 200 years old and you're watching this on YouTube, but that's your effect. Notice how clear that goes off of there. Now let me show you something here real quick with a black light, because the black light stuff is fascinating. Now, as we hit this with a black light, so this is live time, right? Let's hit this one. You can see it's got like, oh, you can actually see it's still just barely on the side. Look at this one. Now, I did this, you can see really well through here, like that. Compared to that, now watch. Okay, so it's up there, and it just falls right off the part extremely fast. This, that is pretty on there. Compare. And I'm just experimenting. I'm just like trying this. I'm just like moving stuff around going, wow, check that out. That's crazy. Now, I did this exact same experiment on Friday. This is Monday. And I've left the jars out here. Now I got a couple other little experiments here too. So this is the Valvoline. Notice there's nothing on the side. This is our oil. After 3 days, it is still on the part. Now, quite honestly, to me, I think that means something. Think about it. Let's see. And this is cold. Imagine if it was hot. How fast does something just come off of the part? Gee, I wonder why things rust when they got oil all over them. I don't know. I'm just thinking. I am not a tribiologist or whatever the heck Bill is. Oil nerd. It's a lot easier to say than tribiologist, because I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. So that is really super cool of what that is doing, of how much that is just flat out staying on the part after 3 days. I'm going to leave it there. I'm just going to see, because I think it's going to stay there forever. To tell you the truth, I don't think it's going to come off like it did right here. There's nothing on there. You can still see that's the original droplet of a Valvoline. Isn't that something? Now, maybe this means absolutely nothing. Take it for whatever you want, but I sure want to have oil left on it, and I think that means something. So another thing that I did then was this is methanol. Now the methanol, because this is a brand called Alky Blue, they put a blue dye in the fuel. I don't have any clear stuff right now. You can see here, it actually doesn't it doesn't have anything to do with light, so which is kind of interesting. So what I did do is I did a mixture of our oil, hence the color. So 50-50, 50% alcohol, 50% oil. And I'll add this in there again. Look at that. Let me show you with the black light. All right. Now, here, I'll just put more in, and then we'll pour it out. The blue dye doesn't have anything to do with it. I do notice that we just kind of shake this up. So this is extreme oversaturation of methanol in your oil. This would be, I don't even know how much this is. This is astronomically a lot. Okay. This is probably 2-to-1 on methanol to oil ratio. All right. If we just pour this out, look at that. That is just a total mix in into the oil. It doesn't separate out. It blends in, and I also like that. And the thing that I think is really interesting is it doesn't milk up. So now that's really making me wonder if I used to think that the oil was getting milked up because of the methanol in it, but now I'm wondering if it gets milked up because of the water in it. Let's go add some water to this and see what it does, because maybe that'll make it milk. Water. Let's get just a little bit. Beep. There we go. We'll mix this up. We'll put our non-sticky oil there. Sticky Steve Morris Engines oil. It still doesn't milk up. Maybe it's it might be a little bit of heat too, maybe. Oh, there's a little more separation there. That might be a slightly different color. You think that's slightly different?
Nope. It's the same here.
It does have just a slight bit of separation, which it should. Oil does not mix with water. It's funny how that works. So I can leave that, but I'd say it's still dark. I don't know what's going on there. I'll ask Bill. We'll see what he's got to say. He'll give me some 15-minute long answer about the origin of water and whatever. I don't know. But anyways, that is some really impressive stuff. Now, this has been, like I said, this has been a almost year process. And so what we are going to be doing now is we are going to, it's so cool. I mean, just pour that in. Isn't that amazing? See how long it takes to run down. So now I've done an oil change in here. That's why we just showed you all the oil in it. We're going to be running, probably the next time we're really going to be running is in Havlicks in 2 weeks. So we're going to then send the oil samples back to Bill. Bill's going to look at it. Bill's going to make sure everything is still spot on. And then they are literally waiting there to, like, you give the okay that this is perfect, that this is great, and they are going to start mixing and selling next month. I mean, we're going to be on it, okay? Hopefully the first part of next month. So we test it. I send the oil sample back. They verify it. We're mixing and making everything work, and this thing is going to be awesome. So I am super excited. This has been a really, really big deal, and this whole goddamn blacklight thing just really amazes me of what that looks like and how. Just look at how is that opaque? Opaque means solid, doesn't it? Or is it the other way around?
100% opaque is solid.
Okay, so 100% opaque is solid. So just check that out, and then we'll just go right back to, that's the Valvoline, okay. Look at that versus that. Crazy. So I'm super excited. We're going to have this available through, oh yeah, look at that. All right, you'll be buying this directly through Driven. Driven is building it. Driven is selling it. Driven is shipping it. You're not actually even buying it from me. We just came up with this oil because I wanted to do this for all forms of racing. This is obviously methanol E85 compliant. Obviously, it then works with gasoline and is working with any kind of street-driven fuel, pump gas, or any of the hydrocarbons that pass the rings and have all those problems. That's what we proved out here with the original oil. So this is street-driven, got a few hundred miles on it, on pump gas and methanol combo mixture there. This is the exact same oil here, and somehow, miraculously, no freaking idea how they make the oil look this blue. No idea, because it started out looking like that. So I have no idea how it ended up like that, but it's cool. But wait, you might be saying to yourself, Steve, this oil just is not going to work in my Formula One car. And I reply back to you, I say, sorry, Lewis Hamilton, this oil is not for you. It's not going to really work in the Formula One application unless you guys tailor it to do that. I mean, whatever. But everybody else, if it has boost, guaranteed. So we're looking at pro modified, big nitrous engines, big turbo engines, big blower engines, big NA engines, drift car engines, pulling tractor, top sportsman, circle track, dirt late model, asphalt late model. There is a wide range of everything this is all going to fit in and going to be great. Now, that is if you guys are already using one of the heavier weight oils. If you're using a 0 weight or a 5 weight oil, okay, it's not the right oil for you. Back to Lewis Hamilton. You're using some kind of 0 weight, real special wing ding, unobtainium oil, more power to you, okay? But otherwise, in all these applications, this is going to be something spectacular. I welcome your guys' comments on this because I just think it is going to be fantastically cool. Is it less expensive? No. Is it more expensive than like a Nitro 70 or, well, every other oil out there that I know of? Yes, probably is. Why? Because some of these things, including a rust inhibitor that is not commonly available, has been a thorn in our side trying to get it in mass in order to do the oil, then test with it and do all this other stuff. It is not common. It is not out there in other oils that I know of, that Bill knows of. It is a totally different rust inhibitor. Friction modifiers, it has some kind of, Bill said it has some kind of Teflon thing. There's a whole list of stuff that is totally different in this as we've just been going through friction modifiers, anti-wear agents, and the rust inhibitor, things that are totally different. Same base oil as the Nitro 70, same base oil as GP1, but different additive packages, and it is just spectacular. It's just freaking spectacular. So, anyways, I'm Steve Morris. Leave your comment. This oil is going to be available next month. I will keep you posted. We're going to go test this, the blue oil, see what it ends up looking like, because I'm like really interested. Here, I'll show you let me show you the brand new this oil looks like versus that. This here is the very first oil. This is what it looked like brand new. Okay. A nice honey color. But I said, that color sucks. I don't want to have oil that color. I want it to be really cool color. So then we got to work on all the colors. We got to work on this and work on that. So that's what it looked like brand new. This is what brand new oil looks like with dye. So this is exactly the same. This is just with dye. Okay. All right. Now this is this oil, the first test used, run with methanol and gasoline right there. So this has all of everything in it.
Looks like you just mix those two together.
It almost looks like I mixed those two together. This would actually, the very last thing this did was this has all the 6 summer on it, or most all the 6 summer on it, and has the last PDRA race where it broke the transmission. So it actually, the last thing this ran on was methanol. All right, so there's a little bit of methanol mix in there. I think it actually gets a little darker, less milky when we drive it. And then let's do this here. Let's see what it does. Well, look at that.
Open up an art studio.
Yeah, art. If you're interested in Smoil for your art presentation, let me know. We'll be happy to sell it to you. Yep, happy to sell. Well, actually, I won't. Driven Milk's happy to sell it to you. Yeah, actually, that was easier than I thought. I didn't know if you had to do some kind of special BS process. Bill made it sound like it was freaking rocket science, how they had to add the color to it.
Just did it right there.
Yeah, it's probably right freaking there. But anyways, super cool. This is the only channel you're going to get this kind of information, checking this stuff out. Fascinating. All right. I'm Steve Morris. Steve Morris Engines. Have a great day. Oh, remember, like, subscribe, leave a comment. I want to hear what you got to say about this oil. Unless you hate it and think it's crap, even though you can't know that because you've never tried it and you never tested it. So you can't say anything bad about it because you don't know. Only I know. Is that right?
Yeah.
You can't say anything bad about something you never tried, tested, looked at, or touched. It's impossible. So anyways, leave a good comment right below. Have a great day.